Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we're delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. You know, we want to hear from you. Today, we're taking the questions from you, our viewing audience. So if you're watching during this live show broadcast on Monday, give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. If you're calling and you're outside North America, you can reach us at area code 205-271-2980, and you can always send us a question with an email to jimandjoy@ewtn.com or reach us on Twitter at twitter.com/JimandJoyPinto. Well, today, our theme for this beautiful show, we're going to have Sheila Weber on.
Right.
We're talking about marriage. We're talking because we're coming up on Valentine's Day. It's marriage family, right? We celebrate that. And so Sheila Weber, she's the executive director of National Marriage Week USA. National Marriage Week USA. If you didn't know it, it happens between February 7th through the 14th. It's nationalmarriageweekusa.org. It's an unbelievable, outstanding website with great, great resources.
Well, I think our good friend Sheila Weber, Executive Director for National Marriage Week USA, is here with us. Sheila, you on the line?
I am. It's so great to be with you, and I just want to thank you that you and you both do so much to support marriages and give people such good direction and advice. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege. Well, the year has gone by so quickly. Tell us about National Marriage Week, the objectives of it, and how it's going this year.
Sure. Well, it happens every February 7th to the 14th, and we're always so pleased that the USCCB strongly supports so many dioceses and parishes celebrate marriage during this coming week. And there are so many ways to do that. But what we are for so many other people as well is we are four things: a movement, a clearinghouse, a campaign, and resources. So we're a movement to stir marriage education and marriage events and outreach events to help people in a community. Secondly, as a clearinghouse, we are the only online national calendar where folks can post any kind of marriage event that they have, or they can locate one near them. And thirdly, we're a campaign. We want to get the word out and educate the public as to why marriage is so beneficial for them, for the country as a whole. And we just want to make sure they know the research as to why it's such a high priority, especially to reduce poverty and for the raising of children. And then for resources, we're a source of help. So if you're needing help in your marriage, you can go to our website, and there are lists of ways that you can get help that you need, or you can reach out and to help someone else.
So your resources really benefit people individually, as couples, to renew their own marriages, and then to take the message of marriage and the great benefits of marriage and resources into our parishes, into our local churches, and then into the public square?
Absolutely. We do want to make the argument in the public square. You know, there have been very successful campaigns which have changed people's behavior in terms of reducing smoking and increasing recycling, things that are of much less importance, but yet people listen and they change their behavior, and we want people to understand why marriage is so beneficial, that it does bring you longer life, better health, greater happiness, but by far it is the best scenario for raising thriving children. Children inside of a marriage where there's both the mother and father at home have less trouble with the law, less addiction issues, less teen pregnancy, and perform better in school. So the research is pretty overwhelming, and we do have reason to be concerned today because, for example, we would have 25% less poverty today if we had the marriage rates that we had back in 1970. In 1970, almost 80% of the adults here were married.
Yeah.
Today, it's dropped down to the low 50 percentile. So really, our concern is that marriage is falling off a cliff. It's being abandoned in certain communities, and it's especially hitting those with fewer resources the hardest, because really a two-family and a two-income or even a one-income house with two parents is going to have so many more financial advantages.
Sheila Weber, Executive Director for National Marriage Week USA.org. Thank you, Sheila, for sounding the alarm and for promoting marriage in the family. And we are going to believe with you that life, marriage, and the family will prevail. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for listening.
God bless you, dear. And so she does a great job.
Yes, she does.
And
it's
so
a great website, too.
Our theme for today is really dealing with a campaign for marriage and the family. What are you doing? A campaign for marriage and the family. What are you doing? And why marriage? Can you respond to that? Why marriage? What are the benefits as you see them of marriage and of the family? Your own experience. The dilemmas we see ourselves in, but that marriage can prevail. Give us a call, 1-800-221-9460. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, remember that we're taking your questions today during a live show. So if you're watching, we want you to give us a jingle on this beautiful Monday at 1-800-221-9460. If you're calling and you're outside North America, you can reach us at area code 205-271-2980, and you can email us with any question to jimandjoy@ewtn.com or reach us on Twitter at twitter.com/JimandJoyPinto. And our theme for today is a national campaign for marriage. What are you doing? And are we celebrating it? Is our parish aware of it? Are we making it known that marriage is great and good for us? It's good for a family. It's good for our churches, it's good for our parish, it's good for our community, it's good for our own souls. It is what God has set in motion to be the foundation.
And this show, the work of EWTN, has already been a success because so many people, millions, don't even know there's a whole week set aside, the 7th through the 14th of February, dedicated, devoted to lifting up marriage, the benefits of marriage, renewing marriages, developing good outreaches within the parish to lift up marriage, to share with our government, to share with the media the benefits of marriage. It's all lined up. All you got to do is go to National Marriage Week .usa and National Marriage Week USA.org. All the resources are there.
Well, and the beautiful thing, I just want to share a quick story about marriage. We're married 41 years. Make no mistake about it, marriage is hard work. But we love being married. I love being married to you. And there's 3 people in this marriage: Handsome Jim, Joy, and Great Jesus. That's what makes this thing work. Make no mistake about it. And 41 years of great success, to Jesus alone be all the honor and the glory. Well, today, you know, we work at a pregnancy medical center. And today I had a client who came in, who was a client 3 times. She came in 3 unplanned pregnancies. 3 times she wanted to abort those babies.
3 times she came for an abortion.
3 times. A 7-year-old we have, a 6-year-old, and now a 18-month-old little girl.
So 3 children are alive and well.
Yes, and so she comes back today with her mother. They're from Cameroon. They come back today. And she came back to tell me, Miss Joy, I got married.
Okay.
She got married. Now, the last time in their relationship, she was with this handsome, beautiful young man who loved her. And they were just having problems in their relationship. Really got to minister to him, got to counsel him, got to minister to her, got to counsel her. They got married. They have a home. I mean, it was like everything that went right.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. Yeah. She is so happy. The children are so beautiful. I got to FaceTime him because he's in Colorado. She gets him on the phone and I'm having a conversation with him. It was just absolutely beautiful.
We need those
Life,
stories. Marriage,
and the family is God's plan to change the world.
Really, we're in an age and in a time where we have to reintroduce the sanctity of marriage, the blessedness of children, that these sexual relationships are related to kids. It's not just about you and what you desire. Well, we have Leo on the phone. Leo, thanks for calling at Home with Jim and Joy. Go right ahead with your comments.
Hello, Jim and Joy. Thank you so much for having me on this afternoon. I'm calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am the director of a men's ministry here called Locking Arms Men. We have been celebrating our marriages as a part of National Marriage Week.
Okay.
Now for the last 8 years, I was a part of a ministry called Whitefield Foundation. We started our marriage celebration dinners, through Whitefields, and now I've carried them on. I have a great group of men who help lead with them. We've been gathering anywhere from 50 to 100 couples each year, and just celebrating God's goodness in our marriages, His provision, His fierce commitment to the sanctity of our marriages, and His goodness and the children that we have. So it's been a powerful night for us. We do some dancing, but I've been able to interview a couple each year that has been through something very difficult in their marriage, and something they've had to work through, something that the Lord has really helped them to overcome, and that's been a powerful part of the night as well. I'm celebrating 36 years of marriage with my bride, Cindy, and we had some very rocky times in our marriage and almost broke up around year 13 in our marriage. And so we keep it very real in terms of our battles that the enemy brings to us, trying to tear down our marriages, but we support each other very strongly.
Good. Leo, thank you so much for calling in. And again, with National Marriage Week USA.org, it's giving you ideas of what you could do for this week. And so he's saying, I've got a men's ministry, Locking Arms Ministry, in Pittsburgh, and we went to school in Pittsburgh for 3 years. Got great memories about Pittsburgh. And so he's saying, so we have this men's ministry, but when National Marriage Week comes, we have 60 to 70 couples that come together. We're acknowledging this week. We want to be a part of this. We want to lift up marriage, the benefits of marriage, the resources to help marriages. And he says that they have a couple that comes forward to give a testimony of the rocky times in their lives and somehow staying together by the grace and mercy of God and what they've come through. How badly do we need to hear that?
We do. And Valentine's, it's to us as Catholics, it's Saint Valentine's Day. You can do what the world does and take your wife out to dinner and maybe buy her roses and chocolate, as the world would do. But how beautiful it is to come together with a group of like-minded people who want to celebrate marriage from where marriage began in the church, right? We all got married, hopefully in front of an altar. And in front of that altar, there's usually a crucifix. What happens at the altar? Sacrifice. But we're so beautiful. We're all caught up in the feeling of love. We don't get it that we're about to die, right? That's what marriage is about. You'd have to die to yourself, totally die to yourself. But I was so in love with you, I had no idea.
I was going to kill you.
You were going to kill me, or I was going to kill you. But that's real. That's how it is. And that's when we die to ourselves. I always say, if you want to give up half your life, then get married. If you want to give up the other half of your life, have children, and you're left with no life. And that's real. But that's just the way God designed it, that we would come to the end of ourselves and live and cry out to be dependent upon God. To what? To love, to be nice, to forgive, to speak kind words. Like you might think, oh, I possess that. If you're married, you don't. And your spouse, like we always say, you are making me holy, I'm making you holy. We're going to be really holy at the end of this journey.
I'm glad I'm married to you. Joe, let's take this email.
It says, I'm always taken aback when I hear people say that they do not understand that marriage is permanent or that an openness to children is a requirement of marriage. How do we renew the fundamentals of the institution of marriage? And this is Bob from Georgia.
I agree with Bob that I am hearing that more and more. And so we have our show, and then we interview people, what's happened in their lives, and they say, I got married and I didn't even know the basic tenets of that, or I didn't have parents that modeled that, and I didn't know that it was permanent. And he's kind of like, you don't know marriage is permanent? But we have to step back and say, well, what's happened in our culture, in our society, maybe even our own church, that we haven't done well with the engagement time and going over the fundamentals. So I think to renew this area of the fundamentals, marriage is permanent. It's permanent, and that you're taking a vow for permanence and monogamy. It's one man, it's one woman, it's permanent, it's faithful, it's fruitful. We need to be open to human life. For better or worse, rich or poor, sickness and health, to love and to cherish, till we're parted by death. This is my solemn vow. So, if I had a few things I could say, if there was only a couple of weeks of engagement training, which there should be a lot more than that, you go over the basic things that make a marriage and the consent that's given. Do you understand this? That marriage is permanent, it's faithful, it's fruitful. All these key tenets of the church, because we've done premarital counseling. We go over those basic tenets and say, we're counseling you in this, and we want you to know. Don't come back to us after the marriage and say, I didn't know this, because we're telling you right now.
Right.
Are you freely giving yourself to this, freely consenting? Are you
totally, right?
So how you renew it is, you have to know what it is, to have to speak it. Our priests have to do it. The engagement training has to do it. And having mentors with them, saying to them, we've had rocky times, this and that, but what kept us together was this permanence thing, and that we were all in, and that they kept telling us that when we made this covenant before God, that it's a sacrament. And God gave us power to keep this. We can keep this, even though we don't feel like we can keep this. We're counting on God to keep this. So yeah, and I think we are doing better at engagement times now in the church. We have the Verettes over in Louisiana, great training. So the engagement time is absolutely critical. People have to know this.
And the world will tell you that now there's no fault divorce. Well, let's just see. It doesn't feel good for me anymore. I don't feel like I want to work this hard, or I don't feel, and it's all based on our feelings, and it's extremely shallow. And that's not what love is. Love is about commitment, love is about sacrifice, and it's not anything that the world is going to teach you. It's what you're going to learn from your faith, and it's hopefully what you're learning from your parents as they modeled that for you.
And we do want to be clear that what that person said is really true with people.
Right.
And that's why there is nullity of marriages. And would that people understand going up, there's some real issues with people not giving themselves freely or not understanding this is permanent. I mean, that really happens. So then that's investigated, saying, well, maybe there was never really a marriage here. So we understand that, and the pain of that, and the pain of, even if you did understand there's divorce, we get that too in this support group. So we want to say that. But we're going to the beginning place. And the question was, how do we renew the fundamentals? You need to know what they are. We need to share them. And people need to see other people actually living them.
Right. And you need to reset. You need to say to each other, every year we renew our wedding vows, and you say to one another, I'm all in. I'm just all in. Yeah. And you know what you went through even just that year. You know the struggles, you know the heartaches. If you have children, you know how they ripped your heart out and left you to bleed to death, right? Yeah. I mean, some of those kids that we gave birth to and we loved so much. It's like, are you really capable of hurting me this much? It's like,
That's your side of the family. I don't know.
Just like, and yet God says, now love them. Love them. You're like, oh gosh, help us. So that's really important that you learn that you do that. You journey with people who are on the same road. Journey with people who you're being held accountable to. There's Marriage Encounter, there's For Your Marriage, there's other marriage groups,
there's
Teams of Our Lady.
If your marriage isn't going right.
There's Teams of Our Lady. There are so many resources that you can do.
So go to the website that we were mentioning earlier, and as well go to foryourmarriage.org. Foryourmarriage.org. It's a wonderful site sponsored by the USCCB. It's a great resource. So we're going to take a break at this point. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, before we wrap up today's show, we're going to go to Rome to check in with Joan Lewis. Now, Joan, the Pope is making an historic visit to the United Arab Emirates. What can you tell us about this trip?
Well, hi, Jim, and hi, Joy. And now, as I speak, Pope Francis is on his first and only full day in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Now, this is a federation of 7 emirates on the southern part of the Persian Gulf. He's the first ever Pope to visit the Emirates, and he arrived there last night at 10 o'clock local time, and they are 3 hours ahead of Rome in the UAE. Now, the theme of the 27th foreign trip of the Pope is "Make me an instrument of your peace." And one of the main focuses of his trip will be participation in the Interfaith International Meeting on Human Fraternity. This has been organized by the Muslim Council of Elders. And the idea is they want to focus on how religions can work together to help create peace, especially in a region where religions have been the focus of so much violence. Now, the highlight of the Pope's trip will be on his last day, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, and that's going to be a mass at Abu Dhabi's Zayed Sports Center. 135,000 people are expected to attend this mass. And as a matter of fact, there's going to be a 120-member international choir singing for the Pope. They are composed of 283 singers and over 100 choirs that tried out to participate in the papal mass. Now, fascinating thing is that the Arabian Peninsula, the Catholic Church on the Arabian Peninsula, is administered by 2 apostolic vicariates. The apostolic vicariate for Northern Arabia takes care of Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Qatar. And the apostolic vicariate for Southern Arabia takes care of the UAE, of Oman, and Yemen. And of course, it's the Southern Vicariate that is the host for this papal trip. And something very beautiful. I learned that both vicariates are under the patronage, the protection of Our Lady of Arabia. I had not known about that title. Something really fascinating about this part of the world, there are no native Christians on the Arabian Peninsula. There are 3 million Catholics, and they are part of a tens of millions migrant workforce. Most of them are from the Philippines and from India. Of the Catholics in the area, about 80% are the Latin Rite. The most interesting thing of all is that in Saudi Arabia and Yemen, no churches are allowed at all, so any faith, any worship, masses have to be in private. An amazing situation. So, historic days for the church, for Pope Francis. But time's up. Back to you.
Joan, thank you so much for giving us the picture of the worldwide ministry and our Holy Father. So today was an incredible day. Now you know there's a whole week dedicated, the 7th through the 14th, to the benefits of marriage, lifting up marriage in the culture, society, in the church, and in the whole world. So make your plans. I know Joy and I will be affirming once again our marital vows. We'll do that before a tabernacle, or do that before the Lord in Eucharistic adoration. That would just simply say, reaffirm our vows that we made years ago. We're going to do a virtual retreat that's put out by the USCCB. You can go to foryourmarriage.org and just put in the search bar, National Marriage Week 2019. And all the information will come up. Well, it looks bleak for marriage and the family in so many ways, but don't you be fooled. Because life, marriage, and family is God's plan to transform the world, the whole world, and He will prevail, beginning with you, beginning with me. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.